Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Brianna and this is another moon message where I break down the energies of the moon to identify any potential liabilities and see how the energies may be helping or hindering us. I like to focus on the moon in these reports because I feel like if we're not aware of its influence, the moon can be one of our biggest liabilities as we move through our growth and manifestation cycles. And there's always like a silver lining opportunity veiled behind the moon's influence. So let's get into it, you guys. Let's dissect the energy and see if we can identify any hidden opportunities. So we have a waxing crescent moon in Capricorn, conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, trining Uranus and Gemini. I feel like this Uranus and Gemini energy is the silver lining opportunity that I mentioned earlier, but in order for us to align with this energy or this opportunity, we have to make our way through this Moon and Pluto conjunction. Now, the intensity of this conjunction is going to be different for each of us, right? It's going to vary just depending on which timeline you're on, right? Which density you're in. There are some of us who are still within these shadow timelines, and then there are others of us who have already ascended out of the shadows, right? So for those who have ascended out of the shadows, a Moon and Pluto conjunction, it's not going to be as intense. But for those who are still in these shadow timelines, it may feel like it's like being face to face with darkness, right? It's like being face to face with those things that go bump in the night. So the intensity of this conjunction is going to vary. I feel like overall this may be a challenging energy to navigate, but we're going to break it down. We're going to go over each of these aspects in detail because I feel like awareness is key. When you know what's going on, you have a better idea of how to navigate it, right? And at the end of this, we'll do a tarot card reading just to bring the energy together. But let's start here with the Capricorn moon. So we have the moon in Capricorn, you guys, and for me, a Capricorn moon is all about releasing the illusion of false senses of success, stability, and security, and we're releasing these things so that we can make space for what's true or what's truly aligned, right? When the moon is in Capricorn, ideas and structures that are built on unstable or rocky foundations, they must be released so that something more stable, more solid, and more secure can ground in. The structures being dismantled, it's going to vary, right? And it varies depending on which area of your life Capricorn governs. So let's say, for example, you have Capricorn in the 7th house, the house of Libra. So this can manifest as like the dismantling of unstable connections, partnerships, and relationships that interfere with the unfolding of the grand scheme of your life, right? If you have Capricorn in the 12th house, the house of Pisces, this can manifest as like the dissolution or the dissolving of a hidden or unconscious pattern that causes you to self-sabotage and delay personal progress. Whatever's being deconstructed in this energy is making space for your vision to manifest. And as these things fall apart, or as this deconstruction unfolds, you may feel like you're starting over with something, or you're starting from the bottom, but maybe that's not true. I'm getting like the Page of Pentacles here. So you're not starting over, you're actually starting better, right? Now you have more wisdom and more experience to incorporate into your plan. So I feel like if you feel inspired to make changes, improvements, or adjustments to your original plan, then I say do it, because the universe is supporting like positive changes. So we have the moon in Capricorn, and you may be feeling like more ambitious or determined to push through obstacles and ascend the mountain. whatever the mountain represents for you. This is Capricorn, so we may be talking about like a mountain of success and achievement, or it could be like a mountain of love and partnership, but there are obstacles present in this energy. But before we get there, let's talk about Capricorn's energy just briefly to tie everything together. Capricorn is like a highly ambitious energy. It's the energy that we want to embody when it's time to get work done or put our ideas into action. Capricorn has tunnel vision and can sometimes be like hyper focused on Capricorn things like creation, construction, success, and materialization, right? Capricorn is the sign that comes after Sagittarius in the zodiac. So what Capricorn does is he takes the inspired ideas and spiritual insight from Sagittarius and he channels that energy into practical actions towards material creation. It's important, you guys, that when we're working with Capricorn energy, we align our ambition, Capricorn, with spiritual purpose, Sagittarius, right? We do this so that we don't slip into devil energy, which is the shadow side of Capricorn. And this can manifest as like service to self or like self-service. It's like debauching and material creation with no regard for others. It's like casting your integrity aside for the sake of material gain, right? This is a slippery slope, and there's a potential that you slip into the territory of becoming a lost soul, which is like feeling disconnected from source, or even like selling your soul. A lot of people talk about like selling your soul, but for me this just means like neglecting your spiritual morals, your spiritual values, and your spiritual principles in pursuit of worldly success and material gain, right? So just be mindful of how you're moving in Capricorn's energy. But Capricorn in his elevated state is the GOAT, right? The GOAT, the greatest of all time. He's the elder of the earth signs and he's mature. Capricorn is initiated, disciplined, and skilled. Capricorn has a lot of wisdom, and his wisdom has been collected from or through experience, right? Capricorn's wisdom, his skill, his knowledge was collected from like in the field work, right? Like practical experience. But when the moon is in Capricorn, things can get a little cloudy. Remember that the moon is an energetic storehouse. The moon stores like past experiences, emotional programming, and automatic reactions. The moon also casts like this veil of illusion around the space it occupies. So when the moon is in Capricorn, there may be illusion, confusion, or even like fear, like deep-seated fear around your goals or around the path that leads towards fulfillment. When the moon is in Capricorn, it's possible for us to become shrouded in like self-deceptive thoughts and emotions. And I'm getting like the Seven of Cups with this energy. So it's like sinking into the depths of destructive habits, poor choices, and temporary satisfaction, right? Temporary satisfaction is going back to the illusion of false senses of success, stability, and security that I mentioned earlier. So Capricorn in his elevated state, right? He's the GOAT, he ascends the mountain, and he has like this broad view. But when the moon is in Capricorn, our vision can become narrow, and now we can't see the bigger picture or the long-term goal. And this can manifest as like a lack of seriousness or a lack of self-discipline. We may feel unmotivated to apply effort towards our goals, or we may be inclined to just like float through life or float through an experience instead of taking those necessary, grounded, and practical steps forward. There may even be external triggers interfering with your drive, your ambition, and your determination when the moon is in Capricorn. So just be mindful of that. So in order for Capricorn to reach the sun, it has to move through the densities of the moon. We're challenged by overcoming the moon's emotional struggles to receive what? To receive what? To receive the sun in Capricorn. The sun in Capricorn is the Four of Pentacles in the tarot. So this is going to be like the inheritance of our possessions. This is like resources to live a balanced life. And it's like a strong sense of control over our energy, our finances, and our personal stability. I feel like this is the opportunity, or this is one of the opportunities. This is what we're working towards, and this energy may be manifesting or materializing when the sun moves into Capricorn around mid to late December. The sun is like the flashlight that illuminates all the work that's been done in the dark. So I feel like if we do this behind the scenes work now, there will be a reward when the sun comes around. Okay, so let's move on to this aspect here, the moon conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. So we have the moon making a conjunction to Pluto in Aquarius. And although the moon and Pluto are in different signs, they're close enough for their energies to blend and influence one another. Now, Pluto has been retrograde for the past 5 months, and it just recently went direct on October 13th, I believe. Remember, you guys, when a planet is retrograde, it sends us on a journey of introspection and reflection. Now, because this is Pluto we're talking about, the planet that connects us to the underworld or our subconscious realm, this was a journey of like deep soul searching. We've been exploring some of the darkest, most hidden or suppressed aspects of our psyche, but not just our psyche, right? The energies of the people who occupy space in our field as well, right? So, during this trek through the Valley of Shadows, as I like to call it, we were searching for our personal power, our sovereignty, and our authority, right? We were confronting internal energies that subjected us to being harvested, victimized, or controlled by external sources. We were addressing energies of heartache, dread, and like deep sorrow, those deep, dark energies that keep us trapped in cycles of like harsh lessons in love. We were becoming aware of the people, the systems, and the organizations that abuse their power and position to oppress us. Now that Pluto is moving direct, I feel like a cycle of deep shadow work is complete, and we are moving or transitioning out of Pluto's underworld into the light of Aquarius, which is the star, right? This very much feels like a resurrection, you guys. It's like being reborn into wholeness and harmony and sacredness, right? So we're exiting the hermit's cave with earned wisdom and reclaimed life force energy. And with Pluto moving direct in Aquarius, a lot of people are going to be moved to share their experience. You may be moved to share your wisdom and experience with the group, with the collective, right? This is where we'll start to see a new wave of like healers and ascendant masters rising up out of these shadow timelines with new strengths and new wisdom gathered from like uniquely complex experiences. These souls have a responsibility to share this energy with the group, right? Share it with the collective and help illuminate those adjacent, less traveled pathways to self-actualization. Now, if this is you, then I want to say, like, don't hide in the shadows. Share your experience because there may be a group of people waiting to hear from you. So, you guys, the moon is conjunct Pluto. And a conjunction blends and amplifies the energies involved. I mentioned earlier that the intensity of this energy is going to vary just depending on your personal journey and where you are. This can manifest as like the amplification or intensification of fear, sadness, sorrow, or darkness. For me, it's manifesting as like intense chaos in my environment, right? Chaos that has nothing to do with me. It just showed up, right? And spirit's like, okay, deal with it. It's like, let's see how you work through this, right? It's like a really hard level of the game, right? This level of the game, it's meant to be very hard. It's like the final boss. This energy is going to manifest differently for each of us, but there's a potential for it to be debilitating, right? Just to completely take you out or get you to turn back and go the other way. Pluto is a tough energy to work with, but I feel like if you can alchemize your fear, then you become the high priestess. And the high priestess is someone who's capable of moving through dense energies, collecting data, doing all of the things without becoming compromised by the darkness, right? The high priestess carries her light into the darkness. She does her work in the darkness. She learns all the secrets, collects all the data and all the wisdom, and then she's able to rise, ascend, without becoming like ensnared by darkness. So, you guys, the moon conjunct Pluto can manifest as like intense emotional triggers or an extremely triggering environment or experience that feels like a living hell. But there is a silver lining here. We've got the fortune point sandwiched in between the moon and Pluto. At least at the time of this recording, fortune moves pretty fast and it creates like these brief windows of luck and opportunity wherever it is. So fortune is acting as like a buffer or a mediator between the moon and Pluto. It's also helping us facilitate a permanent end to something that creates intense emotional turmoil. Right? So there's an opportunity to face, to address, and eliminate poison. It's like a toxin. So we're facing these energies within the shadows. We're confronting them. We are like saying no more. And then we're ascending out of the shadows as a healed and transformed version of ourselves. And now I'm getting like the phoenix energy. So the phoenix rises up from the ashes of its demise. So yeah. So whatever this level is, this really hard level, it's meant to be debilitating. Maybe it's even meant to be your demise. The phoenix rises out of this energy, this darkness, with all of its power, right? So this is the opportunity. And you may have to speak up for yourself to do this. You may have to use the power of your throat chakra to break a curse or a karmic contract. And this energy came out a lot in Cancer's reading. When Pluto is involved, there's like a battle between the soul and the subconscious, or there's a battle between the light and the dark. And this is like the light of your higher self and the darkness that wishes to consume that light, right? I'm getting this very weird image of a witch, like an old witch who uses like glamour magic to keep herself young. And for whatever reason, this witch doesn't have access to this glamour magic anymore. And now she's forced to live in her truth, which is this version of herself that's very old and decrepit and decaying, right? I feel like your energy for some of the people in these shadow timelines with you, they don't want you to ascend because your light, your energy is like the glamour magic that keeps them young. It sustains them, right? So without you, there may be a death, right? This is the battle between light and dark, or between the light of your soul and the darkness that wants to consume it. So it's like something has to die in order for a new you to be reborn, right? That phoenix energy, in order for you to rise up out of this darkness with all of your power, something has to be released or die in the valley of shadows. It's like it's either you or it, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be someone outside of you. It can be an aspect of your ego identity. It could be old emotions or self-destructive habits. It can even be like a fear of standing up for yourself against someone or something that likes to see you small. Whatever it is, right? You want to stand firmly in your power and authority. This is Pluto energy, right? This is the energy that we were working to reclaim and regain when Pluto was in retrograde. So you want to stand firmly in your power and authority and let this person, this energy, this experience know that you ain't no bitch. Like, you ain't no hoe, and you cannot or you will not be bullied into submission, right? At least not anymore. So we have the Moon and Pluto trining Uranus. This is like one of those silver lining opportunities that I was talking about. So a trine is a harmonious aspect that facilitates ease and luck in the manifestation of energy. So something positive wants to manifest in this energy, you guys. And I'm getting like an easy birth or like an easy delivery. That Pluto and Moon conjunction, those were like the labor pains, right? The labor. Now we're here at this Uranus and Gemini energy, and this is going to be like birth and delivery. But because we have this trine, I feel like it's going to be easy. So I feel like if we can navigate the intensity of the Moon and Pluto conjunction to align our energy, our focus, and our intentions with Uranus, I'm getting like vertex energy, destiny activation. Uranus is going to trigger like a radical reorientation of our reality. Let's talk about Uranus just quickly before we move on. Uranus is the planet that moves all of the pieces around in our reality to make sure that everything's aligned for the divine's plan to unfold. This is the energy that we refer to as like divine intervention and like miracles and magic, and I'm getting like the wheel of fortune. So the deliverance of karma, whether that be for better or worse, right? Keep in mind that we are co-creating our plan or our future right now through our choices and actions. And Uranus in Gemini is the sign of the communication. So Uranus in Gemini is receiving communication from your higher self about what to move and where to move it, right? It's like what to keep and what to release. It's like more time in the shadows or elevation. It's like still learning from that experience, or is this contract complete? Are you ready for the next phase, or does your higher self want you to collect more data before moving forward? It's like, what changes need to be made in order for truth and authenticity to lead? Uranus is an energy of like divine upheaval, right? With respect to our choices. And with Uranus, I'm getting like lightning strikes and tornadoes. Twister, like the twister that delivered Dorothy to Oz. And lightning strikes is giving like blasts of clarity and enlightenment that make you aware of something. Maybe aware of a choice that needs to be made. We have Gemini here. This can manifest as like a shocking truth, a truth that you can't ignore, right? You can't ignore a lightning strike, right? So this can be like a shocking truth that pushes you to make a tough choice, or a choice that causes some sort of foundation to fall apart. I'm going back to that twister energy, the twister that carried Dorothy to Oz. When she was in it, it was very chaotic and uncomfortable for her, but it landed her, or it delivered her into a space where she learned a lot, right? She grew a lot. So I feel like this energy is working in our favor, even if it doesn't initially appear that way, right? It's like tough love that pushes us into growth. So we want to focus on the change that Uranus is delivering, and we can co-create positive change with Uranus by declaring that we're ready for it, right? And pulling our consciousness out of the shadows and intentionally directing or projecting it into a brighter future, which is Aquarius, right? So I've pulled some cards, you guys, to clarify the messages that came through in this report. And the first question I asked is, what's taking shape for the collective? And we have the transition card here. And we've talked all about this. Collectively, we're transitioning out of Pluto retrograde into Aquarian energy. And Aquarian energy is the star in the tarot, which talks about like hope and moving away from trauma and following your dreams out of conflict into a new reality. Now I'm seeing the thread, the red thread. So if the red thread is your dreams, right? It's going to be your lifeline that guides you out or pulls you out of darkness into a new reality. And you want to make sure, you guys, that you are taking the necessary steps, right? Putting your ideas into action. I'm getting like the law of inspired action. You want to make sure that you're doing your part to align with the reality that you want to exist in, right? We're not just waiting around for divine intervention to unfold. We have to do our part and co-create with the universe, right? There's a message here about feeling oppressed by other people's anger and harshness. These are energies that keep us in states of sadness and emotional turmoil. This may be the energy that we were untangling ourselves from during that Pluto retrograde period. Now, collectively, we're moving away from like the harsh influence of other people's energy, because we've learned too much, right? We've seen too much, and the standards on what we will accept, they've ascended out of the shadows, right? So we have the healer here as a reminder that healing the subconscious, it's not just a one and done process. Instead, we heal and ascend in a spiral motion, right? So it's like frequently revisiting those lower dimensions to alchemize, integrate, and liberate trapped consciousness. We also have the spider here, and the spider is here with a message about untangling ourselves from someone else's web, getting like a sticky web, a trap, untangling ourselves from someone else's web, and then using our life force energy to weave a foundation of stability and support for ourselves. The next question I asked is, how will the collective know what to focus on? How will the collective know what to focus on? And it's going to be different for each of us, but we have Vesta and breakthrough here. Vesta and breakthrough. Vesta represents like the reservoir or the well of our life force energy and our vitality. It's like the foundation of our passion and our raw creative energy. I'm getting like root chakra and sacral chakra energy. Vesta is talking to me about applying the fullness of your energy to your chosen path. So it's like making a conscious choice to direct or apply your energy towards a specific target. Vesta gives like Sagittarius energy, the archer in his bow. So it's like, where is your life force energy being directed? With breakthrough here, it feels like using your energy to break through boundaries, burdens, and limitations and bring yourself justice. And I feel like we can do this by first protecting our dharma, right? Our good luck, our fortune, our prosperity, our energy, our life force energy, protecting it from those who would rather not see us in positions of personal power and sovereign control. I want to say just like move away from those people. People who don't want to see you just like in control of yourself, like stable, able to support yourself. Move away from those people. And if you can't physically move away, then disconnect energetically, right? Like call all of your energy back to you. And then what you want to do with your energy is direct the flow of it, right? Redirect it towards something that's going to create true stability, true success, and comfort for you. Remember, we talked about this in the beginning. Dismantling structures built on, I want to say unstable, but there's another word. Unstable, inorganic foundations. Dismantling structures built on inorganic foundations so that something true can be created. So we have Jupiter here, you guys, and Jupiter is in Cancer right now, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, Jupiter is in Cancer. So Jupiter is a planet that blesses whatever it touches. Jupiter is the wheel of fortune in the tarot and talks about fortune and expansion for positive efforts, actions, and choices. So with Jupiter in Cancer, I feel like Jupiter wants to bless, expand, and evolve Cancer. And what is Cancer, right? Cancer is our emotional foundation. So this could be like replacing chaotic, painful, and uncomfortable connections with more tempered, mature, and nurturing ones, right? Cancer rules the home, or symbolically, right? The home. So this could be like moving away from an environment that's poisoned, right? And into an environment that feels more emotionally stable and comforting. This could also be like feeling more supported, more stable, and appreciated in your work or career. This energy is going to manifest differently for each of us, but I feel like the overall message here is that a conscious choice to reclaim the reins of your power, your life force energy, it's going to help you complete a painful cycle, move out of stagnation if you are in stagnation, and rise or resurrect out of a shadow timeline into healing, purification, and wholeness, right? And we have the throne underneath purification as the last card, which is like so appropriate. So you guys, this is like ascending out of these shadow timelines onto your throne, right? Your rightful position with full reign of your sovereign power, your power to choose for yourself, right? And this is after being dragged through hell. Okay, you guys, that's it. That's the energy. I hope that this message has been helpful and insightful. If you're still here, thank you for holding space. Please like the video if the messages were helpful, and leave a comment or an emoji to help the channel continue to grow. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next one.